I would say I don't think graduate school is as useful as it used to be even 5 years ago. I think Nathan made an excellent point of jobs with earnings, non-graduate school versus graduate school quickly coming together and that gap getting less and less. So I think life experience is very important. I think going out and doing that, unless you want to be a doctor of veterinary medicine and you have to have this advanced learning degree for that. The only reason I would go to graduate school personally is because I wanted to get a PhD and I wanted to teach at a university. Otherwise, skip graduate school, get life experience.
You can always go to graduate school later. There's no rush. So that's my other piece of advice there is it's okay to go to graduate school. It's not like a bad thing. There are reasons to go, but there's very, very good reasons to delay it as well and figure out what really matters to you and what your passions are. If you know absolutely that what you want to do is be a librarian, then go to library school if you've really got that figured out, by all means, because you have to have a special degree to do that, but otherwise, not important.
Unless you can clearly articulate what it is about grad school that you need to go get, and grad school is the only place that you can get it in terms of, I want to work with this professor, I want to do this kind of research, and I want to get this job, and these are the requirements for it, then I'd say at least wait.
Campus Careers, to promote my fellow panelists, I think they do a really good job of maybe looking for those jobs, and maybe even people like myself who are hiring for that maybe gravitate more towards that service, just because we have that same feeling that this is a company that's doing that versus Monster, versus Craigslist, things like that. I think volunteering out in the community, I think going to the events, I think networking's a big part. There is no socially conscious jobs in austintexas.com website, right, you can go to. So I think of a lot of it is talking to people that are on this panel and people like us pointing you in the right direction.
Nonprofits have an in that a lot of companies don't, which is that you can just go volunteer. And it's not as easy as just showing up, but at the same time, it's a great way to get introduced to that organization, to get in touch with the people working there.
There are now 6,000 local nonprofits in Austin alone. And from what I've heard, 70,000 nonprofits in the state of Texas. And so it's the fastest growing industry. And so the problem with that is obviously there's a lot of nonprofits and a lot of different ways to go about, connecting with those nonprofits. So there are groups like Greenlights and TANO, Texas Association of Nonprofit Organizations, that have tried to create an association or a way to connect to all of the nonprofits at once. Find the category that you're interested in working for, and then either start targeting those specific nonprofits or associations that work with those nonprofits.
Is that you don't have to make a big commitment if you don't want to. You can go volunteer for an hour. You can go volunteer for a week. You can come on an as-needed basis. There's lots of different ways that you can help out until you find that nonprofit that you really have a passion for, and then you can create a bigger commitment and a greater relationship with the nonprofit. So it's good to look for opportunities where you can go spend an hour at a food bank maybe, or go spend a weekend helping build a house for Habitat for Humanity. There's so many different levels of involvement that you can find. I think communications is relevant to every industry. That's why communications is such a great major to get. Everybody needs communicators on their team. Everybody needs copywriters. Everybody needs people who can do public relations. Everybody needs all of that work. Plus, there's so many different ways you can go with a mass comm degree. If I were entering college right now, that would absolutely be a major that I would go into, much more than business.
Even if you don't stay in communications your whole career, it's probably the most important skill that I look for. I hire almost exclusively web developers and programmers, but it's communication that I look for. Can they type? Can they email? Are they responsive? Do they listen, and do they communicate their ideas effectively to the clients that we're working with? If they don't do that, then it's their quickest way out of the job. If they do, it's their quickest way to more work. And I'm not exaggerating. It's really that simple. It's not about the programming, it's about the communication.
100% of the jobs that I've ever gotten were based on my writing skills, the ability to get up in front of a group of people and be funny or entertaining and make a point. And then I think the other thing is for comm students nowadays, those skills are paramount, to be the ability to write and turn that into social media, turn that into blogging, turn that into the ability to sit down and have coffee with someone and not look you know, like you have no idea what's going on, and be able to converse with them. I think all that stuff that I learned when I was in comm school. And then the other piece of advice I would say is that everybody who watches this that's in comm school is pick up a camera and learn how to interview someone, learn how to do a basic level of editing, and I guarantee you're going to beat out the other comm student who has never picked up a camera, never done an interview, never put anything on YouTube, or any of those skills.
You're effectively learning professionally how to do the only two things that matter for you getting a job: the resume and the interview, right? And so the other departments aren't really oriented around that. So that's I think a huge leg up. Second is I think we've moved from a society where it's not about getting the message out there, because now there's just there's so many messages out there. How do you distinguish between them? Where, okay, as long as I knew how to get the message out there, even if I had crappy messaging, I would still get buy-in. People would still use my products or know about my products. Now it's all about getting the right message, because there's just so much noise. And so I think that's going to move from the business major who once used to be able to write their own, write their company's copy, to really focusing on the experts. And I think, comm majors are well suited for that.